In late October 2025, the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces laid siege to the city of El Fasher in Sudan. The ensuing takeover resulted in a severe humanitarian catastrophe and the displacement of tens of thousands of civilians. As the city fell, physical ground access for journalists and international investigators was completely severed. The communications infrastructure collapsed, plunging the entire region into an information blackout. Without eyewitnesses on the ground, investigators tracking potential human rights violations are forced to rely entirely on satellite observation, monitoring the conflict zone from 500 kilometers above the Earth. In the fog of modern warfare, when perpetrators actively eliminate or block observers, raw satellite pixels often become the only surviving record of mass atrocities. The core technical challenge of remote sensing is that raw spatial data is ambiguous. From space, the scale of human tragedy can easily be confused with normal environmental noise. We can see this tension by comparing two datasets. On the left is a verified El Fasher analysis from the Yale Humanitarian Research Lab. On the right is a viral image of Kumia, Sudan. Drawing conclusions from a single static image is dangerous. Misidentifying agricultural features or normal terrain as human rights violations severely damages the credibility of legitimate international investigations. To bypass amatured errors, professional analysts utilize a rigorous geospatial methodology known as data fusion. Identifying a mass grave requires a strict scientific process of multi-temporal comparison, dimensional analysis, and baseline testing. This animation illustrates multi-temporal change detection, the foundational step of satellite intelligence. Analysts compare sequential imagery of exact coordinates to track newly introduced anomalies. Look at this satellite pass over the Daraja-Ulan neighborhood. By comparing the baseline of October 26th to this October 27th aftermath image, researchers track exact changes. They identified distinct clusters of objects that suddenly appeared scattered across the terrain. This diagram demonstrates dimensional analysis. When analysts measure these individual objects, they find them to be between 1.5 and 2.0 meters long, consistent with the dimensions of adult humans. The sudden appearance of 2-meter objects that do not behave like structural debris or cast architectural shadows immediately flags a location for forensic review. These combined metrics identify a probable human casualty event with high specificity, establishing the grounds for a full forensic review. This wider map shows pixel clusters aren't proof alone. Analysts need tactical signatures. Here, light technical vehicles flank the clusters. Nearby, vehicles form roadblocks for clearance operations next to distinct reddish ground discoloration. All these anomalies are located near the Al Safia Mosque, which housed civilians. Shifting to the city's perimeter, this diagram contrasts standard individual burial mounds with long, continuous earthen trenches for mass disposal. The combination of disappearing body clusters, newly excavated trenches, and sudden thermal burn signatures points to systematic incineration. The geographic alignment of tactical roadblocks, thermal burn signatures, and human-scaled clusters constitutes a corroborated forensic profile of a documented war crime. We can contrast this rigorous approach with a false positive. An image from Kumia, Sudan went viral, with users falsely claiming it showed a bloody mass grave. The first critical failure of this amateur analysis was ignoring the temporal baseline. Historical Google Earth imagery proved that this exact visual pattern of dark shapes and discolored Earth had been present at this location since March 2022. The second failure was ignoring environmental physics. This shadow analysis traces the uniform outward shadows cast by these shapes. The shadow's direction and length prove the objects are standing upright on 4 legs. They are livestock gathered at a watering hole, not bodies lying flat. Without a historical normal baseline or an understanding of environmental physics, analysts risk misinterpreting innocent rural agriculture as fabricated evidence of an atrocity. The ultimate rule of open-source intelligence is that satellite imagery alone cannot definitively prove intent or identity-based targeting. This requires the final architecture of data fusion. This diagram illustrates the layering of completely different data streams to eliminate doubt. First, satellite pixels map the structural damage. Second, thermal sensor data integrates into the grid to confirm active fires or incineration. Finally, analysts sync the timestamps of ground-level social media reports, survivor testimonies, and RSF videos directly with the satellite passes. It is the intersection of spatial anomalies, thermal tracking, and human intelligence that creates definitive, unassailable proof. This investigative architecture does have physical limitations. This animation explains nadir angles. When a satellite attempts to look straight down, the steep vertical angles can hide structural damage on the sides of buildings. Due to image resolution caps and reporting bias in conflict zones, these forensic models likely vastly underestimate the true scale of the harm. Despite these limitations, this methodology was utilized by the UN and the Yale Humanitarian Research Lab to definitively map the systemic destruction of non-Arab communities in Darfur. This rigorous, peer-reviewed approach strips perpetrators of deniability on the world stage. Modern remote sensing functions as a mechanism for translating scattered pixels into evidence used for international humanitarian law and ultimate